I was very passionate about being a doctor. I realized that this is not something that I would see myself doing all my life. What I want to do is right.
You actually teach people how to make money online.
How do you understand the value of your content, of your work, and how do you make sure you're getting paid worth that value?
What does it take to run a successful business from home?
You do need to have a lot of space for yourself. Having that creative space, I would suggest setting boundary.
Most common LinkedIn mistakes that you see people doing.
LinkedIn is pushing pictures, but people are just posting anything they can. These pictures kind of diminish your professionalism. When you're optimizing your profile, it's about making it very clear what somebody can get by following you. What is your mission? Like helping empower women through inspiring stories.
Well, you've just given me my tagline in empowering women through inspiring stories, which is what we are trying to do on this podcast. Welcome to Women of Wonder by Reema Mahajan, or Wow Women as we lovingly call it. This is our initiative to bring to you stories of empowered and ambitious women so that we can all take inspiration from them. My guest today is not only a woman of wonder, she's also a woman of words. She is an agency owner, she is a professional content writer, she is a digital marketer and has been doing it successfully for the last 5 years. She has over 200,000 followers across LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome to the show, Shreya.
Thank you so much, Reema. Very happy to be here.
We are thrilled to host you today, and we'd love to know you more and to get all the insights and valuable tips on everything amazing that you do. Let's start from the very beginning, Shreya. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about your bachpan. How did you grow up, and how did you land what you're doing today?
I was born and brought up in Mumbai, India. And all of my schooling was done there. I've grown up around a lot of books. I've grown up around a lot of traveling, like we used to travel a lot as a family. I've grown up around a lot of stories, I would say, because I also enjoyed watching movies and especially animated movies. And I think that has had a lot of influence into, okay, that I want to do writing. So I started writing when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. I used to just write about my day at school, and everything used to be a poem, right? So everything used to be just like this kiddish way of putting it together. In a sense, I always knew I wanted to be a writer, but I never knew what it meant because I think when I was growing up, being a writer meant being an author. And I never was interested in like writing nonfiction. Maybe it'll change, but so far I don't have that interest. So I was very doubtful as to what I would do. And at the same time, I was very passionate about being a doctor. So I studied for like the medical entrance exams in India and I gave the exams and I realized that this is not something that I would see myself doing like all my life. What I want to do is write. I don't want to put writing as this side hobby or this, passion that I can pursue sometimes with my busy career, but I want it to be the thing I do every single day. So yeah, I told my parents that, I want to study literature and they were on board. So I moved to Dublin for English, literature and philosophy. I spent 3 years there. That's where I started freelancing as well. Just a lot of things kicked off because there I met the CEO of LinkedIn and that's, I just put out a post about meeting him. It went viral. That was my first ever post on LinkedIn, first year of college. It went viral and so many people said like, Shreya, we love the way you write. Can you write for us as well? So that's how I started getting clients, getting into freelancing. And by the second year, the pandemic had hit. So we were all under lockdown. And after a few weeks of not knowing exactly what to do all alone in Dublin and, just being a bit, what's next? I decided that I would focus completely on the business. And it kicked off really well during that time. I was able to build it into something that I was like, okay, now I don't want to finish college as such. So I finished in 3 years instead of my usual 4-year course. And yeah, then eventually I moved to Dubai and that's the long story short, I guess.
Brilliant. Well, how long have you been in Dubai for?
1.5 years.
And how do you like Dubai?
I love Dubai.
What do you like about Dubai?
I think it's always, the people is something that I really like. I've met so many amazing people and like even being here for this podcast, right? Things wouldn't happen if I wasn't here in person. Another thing I really like is just how it's a very carefree place. Like it's very predictable. I like that. I love driving. So I'm very happy to just go out and drive and explore new parts of, although a small city, but explore new parts just because I get lost and, just because I can't follow the map correctly. But yeah, these are a few things. And obviously it's a great place just to meet a lot of like-minded people, because it's very rare. I've never met an agency owner. I've never met people who are running an online business anywhere else except in Dubai.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
yeah, lots of relatable people.
So Dubai is a land of opportunities, as
It
you
is.
say, isn't it? And
Yeah.
also the most safe and secure place for a girl to be and like just be on the road, like you say, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Isn't it? So let's talk about your content writing. What does it take to write good content, Shreya? Like what makes your LinkedIn post go viral?
Oh, I wish I had a formula. It's usually not like that. It's very strange because sometimes I worked on a LinkedIn post for like days because I just wanted it to be a certain way, and I kept working on it until it would be that way. And it didn't really perform very well. And then there are posts that I've written in 5 minutes and I thought it was so important to get it out, and I just did, and then it blows up. But I think the common link is a lot of relatability. It's attraction into the content via the hook, which is your first line. I don't like focus on creating sort of polarity on purpose, but a lot of things, especially in the writing and freelancing space, in the online business space, can come off that way. So I think that's also a great thing for engagement, because people have a lot of different opinions on how you could do these things, on how you could make money online, or how much money you could make online, or what kind of results you could get, working with us. So yeah, I think those are the things that really pick up on the post.
So Shreya, you also publish Shreya's Sunday newsletter where you actually teach people how to make money online. How did that come into being and what do you teach in there?
My Instagram is mainly for teaching, freelancing. I don't sell my services there. I don't look for leads there. So Instagram is still a platform where honestly anybody could kick me out anytime, right? If they don't like something I've posted, or if just, something happens, I can lose the audience. So always the idea of having a newsletter is to own your audience, because an email ID and a phone number is something that nobody can take away from you. So that's the only real audience you own. I think, if anything, I just delayed starting a newsletter. So yeah, I started it last year. It's been a bit on and off, I would say. But in terms of teaching, it's more like, how do you be consistent on LinkedIn, for example? How do you charge your clients? How do you understand the value of your content, of your work? And how do you make sure you're getting paid worth that value? How do you stay consistent? How do you keep going? How do you overcome certain mental blocks? I think the mental blocks is one of the major aspect like that people need to work on. Because I believe a lot of things are all in your mind, right? As long as you believe that, okay, this is something I can work through, and I'm willing to try it out and hopefully get some confidence in this, then you can do it. So yeah, it's a lot of beginner fundamentals, that anybody can read and start with. And I just want to make this opportunity accessible for everyone. That's the idea with it.
Well, that's brilliant. And but as a beginner on LinkedIn, can you just share how do you optimize your LinkedIn profile, your bio? Imagine I'm a beginner, I'm starting out on LinkedIn. Where should I start with?
I think it depends on, first of all, what exactly you want to do on LinkedIn. So a lot of people want to create content as a way to like kind of journal their journey, their career, or their personal journey. Some people use it for lead generation, like I do. Some people use it for education. So they're more about, I want to teach people something. So keeping that in mind, what happens is when you're optimizing your profile, it's about making it very clear what somebody can get by following you, right? So if I would say the major elements are, of course, your profile picture. You don't have to be in a suit. You don't have to be stiff. I think people think that way about LinkedIn because it's a professional platform. You don't need to do that. You can smile, you can be pleasant, and I encourage that. And then the other two things to work on would be your headline, which is like your Instagram bio, right? So it's really short and sweet. And that's where you add your value proposition, like exactly, like for example, in your case, you could definitely talk about, hosting this and what is your mission, like helping empower women through inspiring stories. So what is it that someone should approach you for? That's the idea with the headline. And then you have your profile banner, which is behind your picture. So you can play around with that based on like have a nice quote there or something. Like if for us, like one of the good examples would be to have case study screenshots, or to have testimonials on there, like ratings or something. That's a good way to use it as well.
Well, you've just given me my tagline in empowering women through inspiring stories, which is what we are trying to do on this podcast. What are the most common LinkedIn mistakes that you see people doing? And you're like, oh my God, this is an obviously thing that they should not be doing.
Right. I think one of the first things that comes to my mind is the pictures, because LinkedIn is pushing pictures, but I think it means that people are just posting anything they can. So there's a irrelevant picture with everything, and especially if you're a freelancer or you're trying to find a new job opportunity, a new client or something, these pictures kind of diminish your professionalism, and they give a different look. Like if you are posting a selfie, like a mirror selfie or something that doesn't go with the post, then you might get more views because of the picture, but then again the quality of engagement that you get will start going down over time because people will start following you for pictures rather than for your content. And that will affect your leads and the kind of opportunities you get as well. The second thing I can think of is trying to be consistent, like overly consistent, and trying to do that every single day. I don't think you need to publish content every single day on LinkedIn. You don't need to take on that pressure. As long as you can do it like 3 to 4 times a week, it's good. And I would say enjoy the process rather than being like, oh, I'm now a content creator. I have to post like 30 posts a month. Just take it easy when you're a beginner.
Amazing. So you mentioned engagement and consistency, but not for the sake of consistency out there, right? So 3 to 4 posts a week, essentially, isn't it? Shreya, what about lead generation on LinkedIn like you do? How do you do that successfully? What are your tips for that?
I think one thing, if you want to do inbound lead generation, which is what we do, so we create content, like my profile, we publish the content, and we start getting leads. Like we get inbound inquiries, people saying that I would like to know more, I would like to work with you, we're looking for this service. And that has actually come from all the authority building over the past many years. So inbound lead generation takes a lot of time. You have to have that authority, you have to have that trust, lots of testimonials and case studies, lots of proof of work. And we are at that stage now where we also get a lot of referrals. So a lot of people, a lot of our past clients will end up like connecting us with one of their other friends or their other business partners, and that's how we roll as well. And if you're just starting out on LinkedIn, I highly recommend doing outreach. So you reach out to your target audience, whoever that is. LinkedIn has a lot of advanced search filters, so you can narrow people down by like their job role, their location, their company's size, their company's revenue as well. So use all those features and reach out to people. And even if you're not using that to like get on sales calls, at least get on a call with them and understand what they need. That's a great way to do market research.
Right.
And then build an offer that people would really want to buy.
Sounds very good. And Shreya, you successfully run an agency at the moment, isn't it? How big is your team, firstly, and how do you manage the whole thing?
So we are 5 of us. It's changed a lot in the past few months. I think this was the first time that I did like a full-fledged hiring. We had like there was 1 week where I did 30 hours of interviews. So lots of people that we took on. I think for the longest time, hiring has been a very big challenge in its own good way, because every time I publish a form saying, fill this form if you're interested in working for us or working with us, we used to get like 300, 400 applications in like 3, 4 days, which was a lot. So one thing I added this time, because I was so sure that no, I need to get the best of the best and I need to make it a bit challenging and competitive. So we just added an application form. So we said like you fill this in and you have an assignment that you do. It's a short assignment. You apply for that, and then obviously when you have to do an assignment, the number of people applying for the role goes down, which makes it a bit harder because that means the people who applied are all really, really good because they've put in a lot of effort into making that happen. So yeah, that's how hiring has been. It's definitely something I'm learning on, and it's my biggest learning curve at this point.
Yeah, and I think hiring good quality talent and obviously then retaining them is
Yes.
is always one of the biggest challenges you get as an agency owner. You work from home, do you?
Yeah, I do.
And I think our audience is a lot of women who work from home. What does it take to run a successful business from home?
I think you do need to have a lot of space for yourself. I live by myself, which I think makes it a lot easier. Like my parents keep visiting occasionally for a few weeks here and there. But like 90% of the time I'm by myself, and I cannot explain how much that has added to just having that creative space and time and just not being mentally interrupted by anything. It's beneficial, and I think that's very important. So especially if you're working from home and you have a family that you're living with, I would suggest setting a bit of boundary with them, telling them like, hey, for the next 3 hours, I'm working on something. I need this space. Can can we just, have dinner afterwards, or like we'll sit down and we'll talk together during dinner. So what this does is it really sets clear expectations. You're not struggling with responsibilities during those 2, 3 hours of work. And yeah, like everything can be streamlined, and then you can have a routine. Then you know how to juggle everything, and in a way that will probably not stress you out as much.
Brilliant. So working from home, setting your own creative space, own personal space, and creating boundaries with the family or, flatmates that you're sharing with. Is that a good summary of what you would say?
Yes, definitely.
Brilliant. So Shreya, you are very young. For every girl who wants to start her own business, what tip or advice would you like to give her?
Wow, I think starting your own business is a big move. One thing I would say is if you're, let's say, already working, you're already, you're doing a job, I would say don't drop it to start a business. These are very challenging times. Finding a job is really hard. And lifestyle is like bare minimum lifestyle is becoming so expensive. So I always recommend that if you want to, let's say, build an online business that's like freelancing or agency focused, I would say start doing it while you're working on your job as well. See if you're getting results, because I think obviously the online world makes freelancing look like a quick hit scheme. That's absolutely not how it is. So I would say like try it out, see for 6 months if you're able to make at least the amount of money that you make through your job. Are you able to make that much consistently? Then then think of quitting your job. If you don't have a job yet, if you're thinking of diving into business directly, I would say again start with something that's smaller, on a smaller scale, because freelancing doesn't require any investment if you think about it. You have a Wi-Fi, you have laptop, you can invest in some courses if you like. That also, if you're not ready yet, you can use like YouTube videos, you can like check my Instagram page. So there's a lot of options there for learning. So I would say like use some of these free resources, and again just like try it out a little bit and then decide if you want to go all in. But just take it step by step rather than trying to like find an office space and just hire 10 people and see how it goes. Just take it step by step.
Take it slow, make a plan, and then
Yeah.
work towards it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We move on to one of my favorite rounds. We call it rapid fire round or direct dil se. So whatever comes to your mind. We love to get the other Shreya, the non-working
Yeah.
Shreya a little bit more.
Okay.
And so whatever comes to your mind, the first instance, that's what we want to know. Which is your favorite book and why?
Oh, currently I'm reading this book called The Body, and I really enjoy it. Like it's about like how the body works and these
Okay.
small things that you forget that you've already studied in school and things like that. And I'm very interested in fitness and health and all these things. So yeah, that's the book that I'm enjoying right now.
Brilliant. What's the best piece of content that you think you've ever created yourself? So
I
far?
think it's always the next one. Otherwise, I would never create anything. So yeah.
All right. What's the most challenging client you've ever had?
Ooh, this was very early on in my career. And I think the challenge was, again, because I didn't set the right boundaries with this client. I used to like go to college and then I used to come back and work at home. And that meant that I was responding to emails and WhatsApp communication at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., which I soon realized is not the right way to do it. So one of my clients, he ended up like bringing up an old contract and saying and comparing it with another writer's contract and saying, Shreya, your contract is wrong because the other writer that I'm talking to doesn't have these terms. And this is an already signed contract and these are my terms. And obviously freelancing is different. Like you can have your own terms based on how you work. So we've done like half of the work and then we're coming back to, oh, your contract is different from this person's contract. And this was one of the first few clients I had. Everything was going great until that point. And I just broke down. I mean, I was very young, very new to this. I just started crying in the middle of the night. At this time, I was home. So I just like sat down with my parents at 2 a.m. and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like freaking out. I should just stop. I should just leave all of this. And then by the morning, I was just like over it. I was like, I left the client. So I said, just we're not
Yeah.
working together anymore. It was a tough decision. But yeah, it was an important one. I learned a lot through that experience.
Yeah, I think some of these experiences actually teach you a lot more, and I think you would be more careful when you get your next client on board,
Yes.
isn't it? Brilliant. Let's move on to the next one. What is the most rewarding or satisfying feedback that you've ever received from your client?
I think it's always when people refer me, I really appreciate that because why would you refer someone? Like, you're not really getting anything out of it. But I recently realized that people, especially in Dubai, right, people also start helping you connect with other people because it also makes them look good. So as long as you are a good person, you're doing great work, you're somebody who deserves to be known by more people. I love that my clients will always put me forward. I've been to so many parties here. I've converted clients because of, just some dinner I was invited to. And they had no obligation to do that, but they did. They were just like, sure, why don't you come over and, just talk to everyone. And that was nice. I always like how they hype me up, even if we've just worked together for only a month and we've just started. But I appreciate that a lot. So those are the best moments, the
Brilliant.
references.
I think recommendations or referrals like from clients definitely make the difference. And I think the conversion, I'm sure, must be much higher when you get
Yes.
one of those, isn't it? What's the most common misconception that people have about content writing?
That ChatGPT will do it for you. I think it won't. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're writing content just because you want to stay active on LinkedIn or on Instagram, then ChatGPT is going to replace you because you're just writing because you have to, not because you want to. If you read my content and my captions, there's no way ChatGPT could have written it because it's so personal. It all comes from experience. And like the example I shared about this toxic client, right, that I worked with, no chat gpt can tell you like this is how you deal with a client because this is a human personal experience, and chat gpt probably won't even know how to aptly respond to it. So yeah, I think it's a misconception that ai is just going to replace every content creator. It's not, because again, people also value the advice because it comes from me, not because it's just freelancing advice. So yeah.
And I think experience counts a lot, isn't it? So
Yes.
AI cannot replace the real experience, real world experience that we
Yes.
get. Brilliant. Moving on to the next one. What is the most useful or valuable tool or resource that you use for your work?
I think just I like having a phone that works properly. I'm really happy that I have a good phone. My top investment year on year has been my phone because I think it's just so easy to, like, when your phone works properly, you can work from anywhere. And especially for me, it's all about communication. So a lot of calls, a lot of these shoots, a lot of recording my own videos and things like that. So I think a lot of people have this idea that of course, you don't need the best equipment in the world, but the kind of tool you work with, once you can kind of upgrade it, be it your laptop or be it your phone, I think it's going to be a game changer. So yeah,
Yeah,
try
so
to
are
get
you
that.
iPhone or are you Samsung
I'm
family?
iPhone, yeah.
The
Always
latest
iPhone.
always the latest iPhone.
Yeah.
There you go. How do you deal with writer's block? How do you deal with burnout, which I think happens to a lot of people? Does it happen to
Yeah.
you?
It does. It does for like in my own capacity sometimes, not for clients, because for clients we do so much homework and we do strategy and everything's set, right? So we don't have to we don't have to think about new things every single day. For me, also, I don't think I get a writer's block. There are just some days where I just don't have the kind of time I would want to work on writing something down or shooting a reel. That's the only constraint I think that comes up. I used to have writer's block, but now I do so many Q&As and I post so much content online that people are always messaging me, asking questions, and that's a good way to just stay in the loop. So if you're ever wondering what to post, especially like for your audience, then I would say just do a Q&A, ask people what they would like to know more of, and try to pick the best topics and create content out of them.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant piece of strategy that you've told everybody. You do personal branding, right? So Instagram is people get to know you personally and learn and get educational value from you. And you do agency work. How do you manage the two?
I just see it as two jobs, like one is my agency, which involves obviously the client work, but it also involves a lot of learning. So every day, like going through courses, going through videos, making notes, creating new systems of how we like onboard and offboard clients, onboard and offboard teams, and things like that. And the second job that I have is being a content creator, being somebody who's educating people. One of the major ways I do that is, going on podcasts like this one, going on like online webinars, doing sessions for universities, for companies, and just doing my best to kind of get that message out there, because I would love for people to know what freelancing is and how they can do it without like really investing anything into it. So yeah, I think the content creation side is more of a passion thing, and I feel weird if I don't do that. So it just makes my life complete, that way.
Lovely. That's great to know. And how do you measure your success or your progress at your work? Do you set milestones for yourself, or how? What is like the feedback process?
I am extremely critical of the kind of work I do. Every time I set a milestone and every time I reach it, it just becomes like one step ahead for a much bigger milestone. I don't think there's this sense of like, okay, stop and celebrate. I don't think that exists, but it's like, okay, what got me here? Now, what do I have to do to get to the next mark? And in agency, we usually refer to like the monthly revenue, right? Are you making like 10K per month, then 15, 20, 25, 30? So that's how you want to progress. So yeah, this whole idea of success, I think success is hard to define, but I can clarify that I don't see anything as a failure. Like, there is no failure. If don't close a client, that's fine. You'll find someone else. If you don't have a good experience with the client, it's fine. Someone else will be better. If a post didn't do good, doesn't matter. Something else will do good. It's still, 10 people read it, it's fine. 10 people learned something new. So yeah, I just don't have this radar of, okay, I failed at this. I'm just like, either leave it if I don't see myself doing it further, or just try again. That's it.
Brilliant. You mentioned fitness earlier in our conversation, Shreya. So, are you the gym going person, or what does Shreya like to do for fitness?
So yeah, so I go to the gym. So I do weight or strength training, and I also do kickboxing, which I recently started. It's amazing. The reason I really encourage it is because I recently started doing all of this, like prioritizing my health. It's probably been like 1 or 2 years since I've focused on it. I'm not very strict. Like, I will eat whatever I want, and I don't feel mad if I can't go to the gym for one day. I'm very relaxed about it. It's not a stress for me. But I do want to prioritize that the more healthy I am, the more I can keep up with my, routine. Like, staying up and working and looking at the laptop for like 12 hours a day, and being on calls and talking to people across time zones, talking to people across places, is actually a very demanding task, because each person has a different personality, a different way they will say something, a different way they'll take something that you say. So I think that requires so much of your mental energy day in and day out. So working out and just making sure that I have that time as well for myself a couple of days a week, I think that's just a huge stress buster for me.
Brilliant. And my last question of this round: how do you plan to grow or scale your business and brand in the future? What's coming?
Oh, for the last 10 days, it's been so weird, but for the last 10 days, I call him my CBO, who's my Chief Brainstorming Officer. I mean, he's doing other things, but we've been talking about a new offer every single day for all of August so far. We're coming up with so many ideas just because we're working on so many new things. We are talking to so many new people. So I think we have a new offer now that we just came up with last night. This morning, I have validation already because one of the clients is on board. Like, he's like, let's do it. So that was a very positive moment that, okay, this is happening, like things are moving. So for me, the next step is just to mainly systemize things, because as in how your agency grows, it grows from both ends, which is a challenge. You have your team, which is an internal thing. So that team size is growing, and you have your clients, which is an external thing. So it's like you're getting pulled by both these sides, and you have to learn how to manage both of them. I think for the longest time, I thought scaling meant just get as many clients as you can. But now I know I would rather have it slow and steady, but do it right, so that we get really good results, we get more referrals, and we are like some of the best people in the industry to do this for you. So that's the goal, be the best.
Be the best. There
Yeah.
and there you shall be. So congratulations, firstly. Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you.
We're not stealing Karan Johar's idea, but this is our hamper. There we go.
Thank you
We call it the Empowered and Ambitious Hamper for all our women of wonder, and you've been amazing. My last section, Shreya, is you're clearly a woman of substance. You've gone ahead, taken up a challenge, set up your own business in a world which is obviously challenging, and getting new clients is there. But what's your sort of word of advice for all the women watching this show? And some of them might need that inspiration to start on their own, which doesn't happen easily.
Doesn't happen easily, yeah. I think starting your own thing is mostly about your belief in yourself. It shouldn't be about making X amount of money or trying to get to an X goal. It should just be about starting, figuring things out along the way. Nobody has it figured out. Just, take a few steps. You could have the strongest support system, but if you don't believe that this is right for you or that you can do it, then it doesn't matter who is rooting for you. You've got to be rooting for yourself. And I think that's so important, because I see so many women struggling with that. They are always trying to look for guarantees, or they're trying to look for, okay, if I'm putting so much effort into this, how do I know it will for sure work? So that's one thing I would definitely say, that please believe in yourself. And that self-belief will only come from trying it out. You can't believe in yourself for something you've never done before. So try it out is the first thing I would say. And second thing I would say is that do it for reasons that are just way beyond, your usual, like just building a business. It's not about just being a business owner, but I think it translates into so many aspects of your life, especially if you're young. It creates focus, it creates clarity, it helps you prioritize your health as well, because you realize, hey, if I'm not working, my company is not working. Like, it's different, I think, with a job, because there's still so many people on the team who can be doing the work. But when you're starting out, you have to always be all in as a business owner, right? So you start prioritizing your health, and you also start being like financially independent. And I think that's so important, where you can make your own financial decisions. So yeah, try it out.
Brilliant. It's been lovely having you on the show, Shreya, today. Believe in yourself, and fitness is important, along with creating a business out of something that you love doing, which is content writing. It's been great getting to know your story. I think you're a women of substance, women of inspiration for all the women watching this show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching this show today. If you liked it, please do like and subscribe to our channel, and look out for the next edition coming very soon as we bring to you another woman of substance, woman of wonder, sharing their inspirational journey with us.